Hello, everyone. Welcome to the SLUM God Podcast. And today's episode is not going to be a full podcast. We're going to call this the Weekend Blitz. Basically, there's a lot of things that happened over the weekend that we want to discuss. And we hope you guys enjoy this. Still somewhat of a podcast, but shortened version of it. Um, we have The Last of Us that came out this weekend. I think we want to get right into that. And Swayze, what did you think overall of The Last of Us first episode?
Um, I was very pleased with the first episode. I know they took some liberties and changed around a few things, but I felt like they're really laying down the groundwork for what is about to be a really fun season. And um, even though I knew what was going to happen because I played the video game, I still ended up tearing up at the part that I didn't think I was going to. I
Yeah,
knew what was going to happen, and I still did it, still just as emotionally captivating. So, if you haven't seen this show, go watch the show. If you haven't played the video game, go play the video game. I highly suggest it. What are your thoughts, Phoebes?
well, first off, I want to say, spoiler alert, obviously. So if you haven't seen it, we are going to do our best not to have as many spoilers, but in case one slips out, um,
Yeah,
just go watch it. It's a really good show. I was impressed with it thoroughly. Um, Obviously, it's not something that if you don't play the video game that you can't watch. You should
hmm
still watch it on. It's a standalone show. It's fantastic. Um, Overall, I was impressed, and of course, that scene got me as well. So, and even though I knew what was coming, I was like, "This shit's not going to get me this time," and
yeah,
and it's still hit hard. So, um, but the one thing I was impressed with was, of course, the horror aspect of it. The way that you could see the lady and it was blurred out. I'm trying not to not to spoil it, but how it was blurred out, but you could still kind of tell what was happening in the background.
yeah,
Um, Obviously, his daughter wasn't really focused on her surroundings. She's more
yeah,
focused on and that was kind of cool how they incorporated that. That even though you know everything else around her was blurred, there were still things occurring outside
yeah,
of her. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I kind of like those aspects of horror. Um,
Yeah. It was a really nice like subtle horror, and it's just like you can tell they're laying down the groundwork, and it's like it's a little weird because I feel like we may have gotten like a little zombie fatigue because after The Walking Dead and all these other zombie films that were coming out around the time, it kind of like dropped the hype around zombies, but this is kind of like a whole different concept.
yeah.
So it's like, especially when they're having the talk at the beginning about the pandemic and stuff, and like that hits so hard, you know what I'm saying, after what we just went through with COVID and everything. So like it kind of like feels like this could be a very real situation, and I think Pedro Pascal does an amazing job as Joel so far.
Yeah, that's
Um,
what that was gonna be one question. So before you get into that, like
yeah,
I just want to like, what would you rate their casting as far as all the characters that are in it?
I mean, I think they did a phenomenal job. I'm really excited to see like I hear Nick Offerman's really good in this show as well as I forget the character's name. I think it's like Bill or something like that. The dude who has the whole town
Yeah,
rigged with traps and stuff. Apparently, he acts really good. So I'm really excited for those episodes to come. Unfortunately, we don't get that many episodes in this show as there's only 8 for the first season. But
they're an hour long each, more than
yeah,
likely. So that still equates to a lot of
yeah,
screen time.
and I guess um, short and sweet is better than long and overinflated. So
Well,
uh,
I don't. That's why I don't think it was short and sweet. I guess,
no, I'm
especially if
talking
they're gonna
about as
do more
far as the season. The season.
8 hours,
I mean,
almost
8
9 hours.
episodes,
Yeah,
and so like, I mean, The Boys has been doing that. It's because it's these high budget shows, you know what I'm saying? So they
yeah.
can't really. they put really all of the, and I think it's better that way, honestly. But like, I love this franchise so much that I want more episodes. You know what I'm saying? But I know that like it takes time to do these things and to do them right. So yeah, overall, I was extremely impressed. I know that they took a couple liberties in changing a couple things, and it felt like perfectly natural. Like it flowed.
Yeah.
It wasn't like too choppy. What are your thoughts about the casting, Thieves?
I was impressed for the most part. The Ellie, is that her name? Ellie? I don't know why I'm blanking on her name. The actual actor.
Yeah, it's Ellie.
Yeah, the actual actor's name. No,
Bella Ramsey.
Yeah, Bella Ramsey. There you go. But she first appeared in Game of Thrones, which I loved her character in there. She was a badass kid. But it just didn't feel like she fit the role to play Ellie until more as the episode was continuing on. I sort of understood what they were going for, but she honestly was somewhat scarier than the zombies were, to be honest. There was some times where she just has this really strange look in her eyes. She just looks creepy, like I don't know. But it kind of grew on me. Like the part where he's beating up the soldier or whatever, and she's in the background staring, and the lightning's flashing, and her fucking pupils look like they're pitch black. It just looked really creepy. But in general, I think they did a good job. Overall, I don't know why I'm blanking all these actors' names. The guy that played Joel, you mentioned him earlier.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, he's a fantastic actor and he does a good job. So,
it was.
Of course, plays the Mandalorian. So.
Yeah, it was crazy that like Gabriel Luna, who plays Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy.
Who was Ghost Rider, I think, in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show or whatever.
Yeah.
Those are like those subtle changes. You know what I'm saying? Like going from like blonde hair, blue eyed type of deal to like a Mexican Texan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which was like, I'm okay with those sort of changes, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like unnatural at all. And I really think I'm excited to see what comes next, and I'm trying not to spoil too much.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess we'll kind of end it around there. But overall, I just want to get your rating. Like, if you were to rate that on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate that episode?
I would give that one. So do we does it have to be like a solid number?
No, you could do points.
Like 8.5.
Yeah, you could do
0.5. Okay. I would say it was a great setup. They got the audience on the edge of their seats in the first episode. I'm gonna give it a 9.5.
I'll go with a 8.0. I don't think it's more so their fault. I think it's just like even in the game that I feel like that first, like I said earlier, it was slow in general.
Yeah. You
so
don't have patience. That's okay. You don't have patience. We understand.
No. But it's building up, so I know that the next few episodes are going to get even more. So you know what I mean. I got to set it a little lower because I know what's to come. It should surpass what we just saw. They're at the beginning stages of the setup, so I'm gonna go 8.
There's a reason why this game won Game of the Year when it came out, and the fact that they have the actual one of the game creators on board, executive producing, helping adapting the film, I think it's just spectacular. Like,
for sure,
it literally is probably the best video game live action content we've ever gotten already. Yeah, and it's only one episode. That's so crazy to say. Like, what do you think about Resident Evil? No. Rampage? No. What else? You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing is holding up to what this is about to be right now, and I'm just really excited to see where it goes next.
For sure. Go check it out, guys. Definitely worth the watch.
Yeah.
So
get that HBO Max subscription. HBO, you better pay us. We need that. We need that endorsement. You know, we need that We need that money. Come on now, HBO.
So then we'll head on into our next topic, which will be we'll go combat sports in general. We have quite a few things over the weekend. You have Ngannou, of course, leaving the UFC. Which we discussed about this.
Yeah, you predicted it, Phoebes. You predicted it.
So
Jake Paul might put Dana White out of business. I don't know.
And then I guess that leads me into my questions for you, because this seems like the beginning. Do you think more fighters are going to follow this trend? And basically, how big of a hit is this for the UFC as a whole? All right. I want to add because, like, I'm sorry to cut you off before you answer, but John Jones did sign an 8-fight deal, which is huge for them. That's confirmed. That's a huge deal for them because that's arguably their biggest star right now. I mean, Conor came back, that'd be the biggest, but I don't predict Conor ever fighting 8 fights. So they got John Jones. So.
But John Jones is such a wild card, man. Like, who knows if he's going to do all those 8 fights before he gets fired from UFC for doing some crazy shit. You know, so true. Like, he's literally probably their last like huge star right now. So that's why they tried to lock him in. But back to your question, I think it's a really big blow. So. Before Ngannou left, he beat Gane, who's going to be fighting John Jones in this mega fight. He beat Gane like by unanimous decision with all wrestling, no boxing, none of that stuff. And after that, he just left the company. Like, that's just so crazy that he left with the belt, and they're doing a heavyweight title fight without him. And so, you know, you see his family wearing PFL gear. Most likely, I mean, we've already confirmed that UFC has let him go because they didn't want to pay him the big bucks. And I completely get it. He doesn't really sell the fight. But he's a skilled fighter, and I'm sure the PFL would love to have him. And this could be a start of a trend where we see UFC starting to lose fighters to higher paying newer promotional companies such as Bellator or the recently Jake Paul acquired PFL. So,
did you by chance see that clip where Jake Paul was fighting with that one guy and almost got here? Let me see. I'm gonna look it up really quick. I'll send it to you. Yeah, I thought it was crazy because like you said, everyone loves the heavyweight. So the fact that, you know, the UFC is arguably best heavyweight left, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And they missed out on the Ngannou John Jones fight, which I thought would have been a great fight, an amazing fight, but they didn't want to cash Ngannou out. And he said, "Fuck y'all," and I think he's completely in the right. In other combat sports, it did have that the Misfits card for DAZN, and I'm not sure if you saw like KSI got a knockout within like the first round or something like that. Yeah. We also had Salt Poppy on the card as well, and he won by knockout as well. What did you think about his performance?
I thought it was impressive. You have a lot of people who are starting to see that he's actually talented, and it's not just, you know, he's a little bit above amateur. I don't know how he would do against, you know, actual boxers.
It looked a little scripted to me.
You think it looks scripted?
It looks a little scripted to me. I don't know. It looked a little too on point. I'm like, he doesn't even look like he packs that hard of a punch. And
I mean, I guess that's
Buddy across the damn ring. I'm like, dude, no fucking way.
Like, I just thought it was impressive because, like, you have this guy who's obviously not as built as his opponent, and I don't know why people always just assume that if you have a more ideal physique that you're automatically win a boxing match.
Yeah, but I mean, we know with these YouTuber like influencer fights, some of them have like some sort of unrealism to them because let's be honest here. The Logan Paul versus Floyd fight, Floyd could have easily knocked out Logan Paul, but
Yeah,
they wanted
but that was
to
Floyd.
entice the fans with a second.
Floyd knows how to sell the fight. So Floyd knows that if that fight ended in the first round or second round, that it wouldn't be good for whatever they were going for. You know what I mean? So it's about having showmanship, and Floyd has that more than anyone.
He knocked out Deji in like 6 rounds or something like
That
that.
that was nowhere near as big as
Yeah,
the Logan
exactly,
Paul fight.
exactly. So like that shows that there's like a hint of unrealism in some of these fights. You know what I'm saying? So like,
That's true.
even though we see Jake Paul killing stuff, I still have a small bit of skepticism in there. Just a small bit of skepticism.
Yeah, for sure.
You know
But I mean, but this one was a little different only because I feel like both of them are not as big as Jake Paul or Floyd Mayweather. So like,
Saul
what do they?
Got money though. Saul probably got money.
He does. He's starting to get there. He's starting to get there. But I don't think he's like a big mega star where he could definitely benefit off of or pay someone enough to throw a fight. You know what I mean?
I mean, he has like his own restaurants and stuff. I think he would be able to afford that. Like people just get like
Restaurants.
People want to be famous. Yeah, he has his own restaurant.
No, that's not the Salt Poppy, boy. Are you talking about Buddy that does this?
Yeah.
That is not the same. That is not the same nigga, man.
It's not?
No. This guy, the Salt Poppy's a TikToker.
Oh, okay.
He makes little videos. Yo, I was calling him the other the other Salt nigga.
Well, I mean, they have the same nickname. I'm sorry. I thought it was Buddy. I'm like, damn, I didn't know Buddy was that chubby.
No. There's two different people. So that's why I was saying that I don't think there's enough benefit for like a fight though, because they're fairly. I'm not saying they're unknown people.
That shit still looked a little unreal, bro. I'm like, no
Salt
way.
Poppy got hands. He got hands. Some people are even saying that he should fight Jake Paul. That'd be pretty dope to see.
I mean, yeah, I'd like to see KSI versus Jake Paul just for the hell of it. I mean, he already beat his brother, so why not try and get revenge? Trying to build these fake ass storylines.
I don't think KSI ever looks too impressive though. I feel like Jake Paul, at least, I somewhat see the the skill in, but that's just me. It would be a nice fight to see though.
Okay, yeah. No, thanks for clearing that up for me, because I really thought it was.
I thought he was a fighter at night and a fucking chef in the evenings, boy.
Well, the other dude's a TikToker, so I mean, it is what it is. I just wanted to get your take really quick on some of the. I mean, we just had the first round of the playoffs, and we had some upsets happen. First of all, let me get your take on the Chargers versus the Jaguars. What'd you think about that game?
I think it's despicable. Possibly one of the biggest upsets of all time. I think, in my personal opinion, it is.
What makes you say that?
Well, because of just the discrepancy in the stat lines. Obviously, you have the Atlanta Falcons choking against the Patriots in the Super Bowl. That's always going to be up there because of how large scale the game was.
Yeah.
But the discrepancies in stats still weren't as bad as the Chargers and the Jaguars. Chargers got out to a huge lead. Jaguars gave them 5 turnovers, and a lot of these turnovers are literally right next to the goal line. So most of these points are coming easy. There's just no way you're supposed to give up a huge lead like that. You have a coach who is outmatched, and he's always has been. So hopefully they look. I don't want to say someone deserves to be fired, but he should find the Chargers quarterback. But no. The Chargers coach is Brandon Staley, and his ass needs to be fired because the thing is they had that huge lead, and the one way to kill the clock is running the ball. and he refused to run it. He was always passing, and that kind of like gave the Jaguars time to come back in that game and win. So it's despicable, and I think it's like the biggest. I feel like the biggest choke of all time.
and
Easily.
then what do you think about the 49ers eight coming up to actually advance in the playoffs over the Seahawks?
I think it was a pretty impressive win. I mean, a lot of people are starting to see, well, we started to see the last few weeks that 49ers are legit Super Bowl contenders. They're down to the third string quarterback, Brock
Yeah.
Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, last pick in the NFL draft. Um, they had so much stacked against them, but that team is so stacked that even the third string quarterback looks like he could be a potential MVP candidate. You know what
Mm,
I mean? And the coaching. So I don't think anybody wants to mess with them right now. I wasn't too sold on the Seattle Seahawks in the first place, to be honest. So I don't personally see it as impressive as other people. But
do you see them advancing to like a maybe the Super Bowl? Like, would you like put them as like a dark horse?
I wouldn't even say dark horse. I think they would be the favorites at this point in time in the NFC. I don't think there's a lot of. I don't think there's too many teams in the NFC that look as good as them right now. And they have a stacked defense. They have so many offensive weapons that literally I don't. There's no one in the NFC that I think can keep up with them except for the Eagles.
Wow. Yeah, and adding on to that here, I mean, I guess we should just ask you, uh, who do you got winning tonight on the Cowboys versus Buccaneers game?
Whew, this is going to be tough because you got Tom Brady who is 7-0 against the Cowboys. You know,
Mm,
he likes playing against them. But the Cowboys overall have a way better team than the Buccaneers. There's literally no reason why they should lose this game to the Buccaneers.
yeah,
But with Tom Brady, anything can happen.
the
Anything can
goat,
happen.
the goat.
Anything can happen. Oh
Seriously.
yeah, but the Buccaneers still got some weapons. They still got some fight in them. But I think the Cowboys win. They should win by more than 10 points.
My boy is responsible for the greatest comeback in NFL history. So,
Yeah, well now
can't,
second in my opinion, but
huh? Well, now
now
second.
second in my opinion, but yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So that being said, who would you favor to come out of the AFC? I mean, you got the Bengals that just had a win over the Ravens.
Yeah.
They were using their backup quarterback. And then you got the Bills who took a win over the Dolphins as well. So who do you got coming out of the AFC?
To be honest, I do not know. As you know, I'm a huge Chiefs fan. I like me some Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Um, but at times, I'm not gonna lie, he worries me a bit. He gives the ball away at really bad times, and I don't think a lot of people have been noticing it. So
Mhm.
I'm not as sold on the Chiefs making the Super Bowl this year. You can only make it so many times.
Yeah.
Um, Tom Brady made it seem kind of different, but it's definitely hard to get there. But neither the Bengals or the Bills looked impressive yesterday, I
So
must say.
so you
So
don't got them taking a win over the Chiefs then, Mahomes?
okay, so we I
Or
think
over the Jags?
the
Or over the
Chiefs play the
Jags?
Jags.
Yeah.
I think they'll beat the Jags. Then you have the Bills versus the Bengals. I feel like the Bills will beat the Bengals
Ooh.
based off how bad the Bengals played yesterday,
Yeah.
and the Bills are a way better team than the Ravens.
You're betting
So
against Joey B?
yeah, I am. Yeah, I
Oh
am.
snap.
And then that would leave the Bills and the Chiefs, and I feel like the Chiefs have been getting way too lucky against the Bills lately, and their luck's gonna run out. Give me the Bills in the Super Bowl, unfortunately, for the
Okay.
AFC side. And then the NFC, if I must choose, I like the 49ers going to the Super Bowl. So we got a Bills 49ers matchup maybe.
Oh wow.
I want the Chiefs to make it though.
So you think the Chiefs are gonna lose against the Bills? That's crazy.
Yeah. They've just barely escaped them the last
Okay,
2
so
weeks.
so we're just counting out the Eagles right now. We're acting like the Eagles don't have a potential MVP on their team right now. Is this what we're doing?
Yeah, I mean he's coming off an injury. He did play the last week of the season.
With a
So
14-3 record?
yeah,
Come
I
on,
know.
man.
I know. They have a stacked team too. That's why I don't know if the 49ers will for sure go there.
Hmm.
But the Eagles haven't looked too good in the last few weeks.
These are some hot
Momentum.
takes here. These are some hot takes here. You're betting up against the favorites right now. So
Yeah, momentum is a thing, and I mean, granted, they play against the Giants. I feel like that's the best matchup they could have asked for. Um, so I think they'll beat the Giants and they'll go on to face the 49ers. But then I don't know. The Cowboys look good too. It's a stacked NFC.
I'm surprised that the Giants are even in the playoffs, dude.
The
That
Giants
is,
are in the playoffs.
I know. I'm saying I'm
Oh, you
surprised.
surprised? Oh yeah,
Like
because
they've been trash for like the past few years now. So
yeah,
the league is definitely changing. We got teams that never used to be in the playoffs now, like playoff contending teams. So
yeah. Now their young talents developing and they're starting to take over the league. All the old
yeah,
heads,
same
Aaron
thing with the
Rodgers, Tom
NBA
Brady.
too. Same thing with the NBA. It's
That's
crazy
true.
seeing the change of the guard. And they're not even on good teams because I mean, originally good teams because they used to tank and shit.
Yeah,
So now they're all building up these crazy rosters.
yeah. I mean, we're going to be discussing the NBA up here in like a few days,
Mm-hmm.
but they're just like sometimes when you like for the NFL, I see quarterbacks like Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. And I'm like, yeah, these boys can ball. They look
Yeah,
like the next best thing. But then I see people like Luca. I see people like Trey Young, Shy, John Moran, and I'm like, bro, these people don't look like to the eye test. They be hooping, they get stats, but they don't look as good as the older generation. So
yeah,
I don't know if I'm stuck in my way or something, but I
yeah.
don't like where the game's headed for the NBA. I'm
Okay.
not a Luca guy. I'm not a Jokic guy. So hopefully, I don't know. I feel like Steph is like the last lone survivor up there who's like a top 5 player. KD was also before he got injured, but I don't know, man. The NBA is headed in a scary direction.
I hear you. So, are you on the Tua train at least?
The Tua,
Yeah,
no, I think he should retire. I mean, you don't ever want to put. I understand he wants to do something in this league. He wants to make money in this league,
yeah.
but you got to take your mental health. Like, hey,
Retire at 24. You just got to the league.
he's had 3 concussions this year,
Yeah,
and the brain damage is a very like you can come back from. Say if you broke your arm a bunch of times or you got a bunch of leg injuries, you'll
yeah,
limp around, but you could still live. You need your brain. That's a vital function. There's no playing 50-50 with your brain.
yeah.
And I think it's just he should be thinking about his family and life after football because
Hmm.
those concussions pile up quick, as we can see from this
Yeah,
year.
but I mean, the money, walking away from all that money. You know what I'm saying? That's a
I
very
think
hard thing to do. And playing a sport that you've loved your entire life. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like
yeah.
to tell somebody to walk away from the sport at 24. That's like telling them to you
And
know,
he was just hitting his peak. That's the sad
yeah,
thing is that he was on an MVP type season up until his first concussion, but can't risk it.
yeah. And that's a hot take as well.
That wraps up our little weekend blitz. There's just a few things that we wanted to discuss today. We'll catch you guys next time, and
Like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you keep up with us, and we'll be sure to keep on dropping the content.
also I don't think I said it last video, but this video I can. If you want to be a part of any of these segments, want to guest host or anything, just hit us up in the comments, or we'll have our contact information up there. Just hit us up, let us know if you want to take part of any type of content really. Yep, that's a wrap.
Peace.